Hey.
Whoa.
Ooh. Considering how cold the second movie was we saw, I don't know if I should be complaining too much right now. It's cold, but I can see the ground out there.
That's true. We're not in 15 feet of snow.
Walls just piled up. I am actually halfway through my night. I'm Brad Jones. Welcome to Midnight Screenings. This is Ryan Mitchell, and these are 2 of 4 movies that I gotta watch tonight. This is actually the end of you're heading home.
That's
after
right.
this.
My night's over after this. Yeah,
I gotta stick around and watch The Prodigy and What Men Want. So I will be here. It's not very often that I'm here when the place is opening.
That's true.
But I am often here when it's closing, and
right, yeah.
tonight it's both. I'll be
Yeah.
here when it opens and here when it closes as well. So we were the first. We're reviewing Lego Movie 2, the second part, and then Cold Pursuit. And subscribe to us as well. We're at youtube.com/Stone Gremlin Productions, and follow us on Twitter at The Cinema Snob. Check out yesterday I put up the best films of 2018 video, and you can see the Cinema Snob episode on the Trump prophecy, which is also up, which was not on the list of the year's best films.
Shocking that was not on the year's best film.
This was kind of a first in the sense that this might be, I think, the only time we were at an IMAX screening here, and we're the only ones in there.
Yeah.
There was nobody. This is Friday. It was 1 in the afternoon that we went to go see Lego Movie 2, and it's not the first time that I've had to see like a kids movie on like a Friday afternoon, like if it didn't get screened the night before or whatever. Usually there's some grandparents in there with their kids or something.
Right, yeah.
There were
nobody.
No, there were more people at the least of these.
There were.
And there were more people when I went to go see that Boxcar Children movie, and there was just as many people here this time as the Barbie movie that we went to go see. It was exactly the same. So yeah, IMAX screening, like we were like, this is still playing, right?
Right.
This is
Right, yeah, exactly. We're
random.
We could.
I enjoyed the first film a lot. The first movie was honestly,
You mean the first Lego movie?
The first Lego movie.
Okay, just clarifying. Yeah.
I enjoyed the first Lego movie a lot, and it might have been on my best list that year. I can't remember, but it was certainly the most I had among the most I had laughed that year. I thought it was a very funny, smart, clever, and surprising movie too. Not that I thought it looked not that I thought that it looked bad going into it, because I certainly didn't. I thought it looked charming enough, but the ideas that they had in the movie and the little surprises and twists they kind of threw in there, I thought it was a really, really sweet, clever movie. And there's since been a couple Lego movies. There was Lego
In
Batman.
the same style, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they make tons of Lego.
The ones on DVD
yeah,
and
exactly,
everything.
Yeah, but this style of, in the style of the first Lego movie, there was the Batman and then the Ninjago.
The Ninjago one, yeah.
Didn't see either of those.
Lego Batman I thought was fine.
Yeah.
The Ninjago one wasn't that great. It had some funny stuff in there with a cat that was tearing apart the city. Like stuff like that was kind of funny. That was one I remember, like, it wasn't very good, but my expectations were kind of low going into it.
Sure,
and
yeah.
I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't that great. And so with this, this one could have gone either way for me necessarily, like, because comedy sequels are hard to do.
Very hard, absolutely. Yeah. Especially something that coming from such a unique standpoint that was the first Lego movie, because the first Lego movie ends with it being revealed that it's actually just a kid playing in his basement with his dad's toys, and that his dad didn't want him to play with it.
Yeah.
But the message of it is actually being able to play together and the creativity and the fun that is Legos. So that being the reveal made the first one so great. So how do you continue this universe with these characters already knowing that?
Yeah.
So that already was a big challenge, and how the heck were they going to go there in the second one around? So anyway,
it went exactly like I thought it would. From the trailer, I was like, I know where this is going.
Right.
And then throughout this movie, I knew exactly where this entire movie was going because they're constantly revealing things all throughout it and really just kind of holding your hand through the entire thing. Like, I was watching this film thinking, I know what's going to happen at this point in the movie. I know what's going to happen up here. I know what's going to happen later. I know what's going to happen later. It doesn't help that they are kind of showing you flashes of everything that's actually going on, and the thing that they're avoiding is called like the mom-pocalypse, and I'm like,
well,
yeah, I wonder what that is. So this movie, I'll just get it right on out there, I did not like this movie as much as I did the first one.
I didn't like it as much as I did the first one, but I still liked it.
I think you liked it better than I did.
I did, and I think the reason being is that I too knew from the trailers where it was going.
Yeah.
But I liked, and you're totally right. It is predictable. It is exactly where it looks like they're going, and I think that they knew that too. You know, because you're right. They to answer the question that I posed earlier, they come right out, and it's the kids, and they're playing with their toys. Do. It is not. That is where this world is. That's how it is. So. I saw that's where they were going, and even though it was predictable to the point of it being almost paint by numbers, I was okay with it, and the reason why I was okay with it because I still the overall message was. And I mean, it's meant to sell toys, but you know, it's the overall message was is the fun of playing together. The disaster in the world was that all the Legos were going to go away because the brother and the sister kept fighting.
They can't get on. The message of the movie is good. Like, teaching these kids to get along.
Right.
Certainly. The movie absolutely has its heart in the right place. There were a few times in the movie that I did laugh. It got a couple of laugh out loud moments in the movie. Like,
not nearly as many as the first one, though. I mean, I was enjoying it more than you were.
Yeah.
But, like, even I was like, there were times I was like, this is dumb.
And
this is really dumb.
I could have been along with like how really kind of predictable this movie is if it was funny.
Sure, and that's a good point.
It's kind of funny. Like there are things when it's the apocalypse land and he's still this eternal optimist throughout this kind of Mad Max wasteland.
Right.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the ideas of that.
Sure.
That's
they should have
really
stuck with that. Yeah, honestly. They should have stuck with that.
That's really just like the first 15-20 minutes of the movie. And I liked I enjoyed the lair with all the raptors and their subtitled speak together.
That was funny.
The little a couple of the little in jokes like they can't use Mary Poppins, so here's Larry Poppins.
Right. Or since the Justice League is gone and Marvel won't return our calls.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
a spoonful of salt also makes the medicine go down. Like
sure, but those are the jokes that they were known for from the first one. Those were good jokes.
Those I've already kind of named most of the times I laughed in this movie because this is a movie that when I saw the first one and I laughed hysterically in that from beginning to end, and I really felt like a kid again watching that movie and playing with toys and Legos and all of that. This one made me feel old. This one made me feel like playtime's over. This one I felt like there's a lot of kids movies that I go to and I enjoy very, very, very much. This is one that made me feel like a 37-year-old man, like stuck in. God, how do I even put this movie feels like you're stuck in an aerobics class where everyone's just eating sugar and not exercising. Like it's like I'm being forced to judge this cosplay competition and all I really want to do is have a scotch and go to bed. It was so we left this movie and I was like, that felt so loud. There's so much screaming and sugar rush shit going on in this movie.
You obviously don't watch a lot of kids programming. Not that you would, but I can tell you, having a 5-year-old daughter and watching tons
probably
and tons
really
of stuff,
like this.
I actually think I'm going to bring her back to it. Like my wife wanted to see it. We both loved the first movie.
Well, come on, man. Dog's Way Home's still playing.
I want to bring I want to alienate my daughter and get her taken away by the state. So that's what I'm going to do. No. I'll probably bring her to this, and I think she'll really like it.
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
it was tolerable enough that I'd be okay sitting. I mean, with the stuff I've sat through with my daughter,
Yeah.
I can sit through this a second time with
I'm
her,
sure.
you
Yeah.
know? But I mean, your points are totally valid. You know, I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like disagreeing with you. Like, I'm sure you don't know what
No,
you're talking
I'm
about.
not. I'm honestly
He's-
not
he's-
disagreeing with what you're saying.
He's
either.
100% true on all this stuff. It was a but you got to think about it. It was a hell of a feat to follow that movie up.
No, it is. And this movie's not a bad film. It's one I don't enjoy nearly as much. It's one, and I mean, you got kids, so I know you'll catch this. Watching this movie felt like I'm stuck on Cartoon Network and they're just showing 3 hours worth of like Dance Dance Revolution and my remote's broke.
It's a lot of musicals. It's a lot of poppy sounds. They have a new version of Everything Is Awesome where it's the song that gets stuck in your head, and that's what they repeat over and over and over and over again. So, I mean, it's I didn't hate it.
Neither did I.
So like, but I still enjoyed it. Like, I think that's the difference. Is like, you're like, this sucks. I was like, I enjoyed it.
No, I don't think it sucked. This is one of those things where it's not that I was sitting there thinking this sucks. Oh my god, I hate this. This is going on my worst list. This is one of those kids movies where I wasn't so much thinking that. There's great kids movies, and then there's kids movies that are legit bad, like the Norm of the North of the world. This one I would honestly put in the category of I just simply don't think this is made for me. And it's not funny enough to carry me through it. I'm laughing a few times.
Right.
Not that much. Most of the time, I was honestly really just finding this movie obnoxious.
Yeah, like I said, I could sit through it again for the sake of watching it with my daughter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch this on my own again. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, I love Legos.
Sure.
I mean, I've played with Legos. I still have Lego sets. You know,
No, you do,
I
yeah.
got big ass, like the expert ones that I build every once in a while. So, I mean, like this, I'm a big fan of Legos. So for that reason, I enjoyed it. And again, like I said, I'm pretty sure my daughter would enjoy it. But I don't, like, I could watch the first one again and probably really still enjoy it.
I could too, yeah.
This one, I could watch it one more time with my daughter, and then I'll probably never watch it again. You know what I mean? Like, that's the maximum amount of enjoyment out of it I could possibly get.
This feels more like I'm watching this movie. I was sitting there like I feel bad for anyone going to see this who's hungover for
Very
one.
true.
It's
it's loud and colorful and
I'm like, this feels more
sparkly.
like I'm watching a sequel to that My Little Pony movie that came out a couple of years ago. Like, if the first movie was about playtime, this is a movie that needs a nap. Like, I just couldn't do it, man. Like, you know what? All of that what would have made the biggest difference in the world for me, honestly, is just simply if I found it funnier. That's really it.
I think you're absolutely right. Like that same thing for me is in the beyond the like, oh, this is now one of my favorite movies that I don't watch again is right. It would have been way funnier. And a lot of it was just like dumb puns. And like dumb puns can be funny if done well, but if it's just dumb pun after dumb pun after dumb pun, like I felt that was everywhere.
Because it was one of I was thinking about this during the movie. It was one of those films that felt like every line of dialogue was meant to be on a T-shirt at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
With a picture of like Elizabeth Banks' character and a quote that's like grumbledy grumble grumpy Gus or something
the one time you see an Abraham Lincoln character, he's falling into a void and he goes, but I had theater tickets tonight, it's like like every line, you're right, every line had to be a quotable T-shirt line.
Kinda, yeah.
So
but you know what, like
one thing I actually thought was pretty fun was the second Chris Pratt character.
Oh,
because he was like a mixture of all of his other characters.
Yeah,
he was the Jurassic World, the Guardians of the Galaxy, like all the other characters mushed together into one.
He was kind of doing like an impression of Kurt Russell doing an impression of John Wayne.
Right, yeah.
Like Big Trouble in Little China. Like,
so I found some enjoyment in that.
Yeah, no.
So, but
it would get a smirk out of me every now and then, and that character was certainly enjoyable.
Right.
No, it's a good looking movie. I mean, it looks like the first one. It's a good looking film. The animation is certainly great in it. It's really clever what they do with all the toys and everything. I'll give it that. It was just a movie that just it annoyed me more than it did entertain
I
me.
think because the first one, when the very first time they start shooting at each other, and instead of like laser sounds, you hear pew 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 pew. Like that's clever and funny. This time it was like, oh yeah, that's what they do. You know,
I know what you mean.
So even again, as much as I enjoyed it, there's definite flaws. Definitely not nearly as good as the first one. So maybe get one more watch with my kid, but that'd be it for me.
We'll only watch it 12 more times.
12 more times. We'll do, yeah.
And I'll only watch it if Lloyd wants to.
Exactly. Yeah, the cat stuff. So. Any other thoughts?
No,
I think
not
we're beating
really.
this one to death already.
Yeah. Not really. I think this is. I can just sort of feel this is one of those movies that'll probably be on a small boat, and that I didn't care that much for this.
Yeah,
But if you enjoy this film, I get it. I certainly do. That this kind of is one of those instances where I just sat there feeling like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be 40 in a few years. I was sitting there like, I don't have any kids with me. Why am I here?
What?
Oh, right. I'm doing this for the website.
That's right. Yeah. This is work. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
But so to get into the next movie that we went to go see, which is the one we just got out of, which is Cold Pursuit, the Liam Neeson movie where his son is killed at the beginning of the film. So it's Liam Neeson hunting down a bunch of drug dealers. This is a movie that I will say right away I thought was a smarter and much more funnier movie than Lego Movie 2. If I'm comparing the two, since I saw them back to back.
Right, yeah, that's not a fair comparison.
They both do advertise themselves as this one a dark comedy,
yeah.
Lego Movie a kids movie, both certainly comedy.
Right.
I laughed way more in the Liam Neeson one.
Yeah.
So families out there, if you want to take the kids to a comedy over the weekend, Liam Neeson shooting some people in the face and knocking some teeth out.
Yeah.
You should really go see it. It was much more crowded in there.
There was a lot more people in Cold Pursuit than Lego Movie.
Than when we went to go see.
Of course,
Lego
the Cold
Movie.
Pursuit was at 4:00, so people had gotten off work.
Yeah, that's true. The kids are out of daycare.
Right. Yeah.
Bring the families. So this movie, it's more comedic than it's advertised as, sort of. You can see a little bit if you look at the trailer again, knowing that this is kind of a dark comedy. You can kind of see elements in there in the trailer. As far as it's going to be really easy to compare this to many of the other Liam Neeson movies that he's done recently.
Has he done other movies where he's
that's not a revenge film or like an action thriller?
Has he?
Both movies the last two movies I saw him in were both revenge movies. The other one was Widows.
Weird.
A few months ago. But this one, honestly, even though this is advertised like okay, this could go along with Taken or some of the other movies he's been in. Honestly, with the tone that this movie has, this is actually way more akin to something like Darkman, the Sam Raimi movie that he did back in the day. Like, this has a lot more in common with the kind of twisted sense of humor that it's got.
It's pretty weird.
The way that the villains are, the way they interact with each other, and Liam Neeson really just wanting to kill a lot of these motherfuckers. Like, this has tonally, this is more like a Sam Raimi type of movie, like Darkman, or comparisons to Fargo will be easy considering how much snow is in this film.
Yeah, but it's different. It's not quirky. Like there's no quirk to it. It's just like it's like a dark movie that then suddenly there's a funny thing that happens.
I was enjoying that because it was there would be comedic points in like a body IDing scene when they're IDing his son and a funeral later on, and there would be like really, but I liked that.
Weirdly awkward things in that what should be a very serious moment, but and like it wasn't necessarily played for like a ta-da laugh walk of sort of a thing. It was just like you're watching it and they're doing something and then it's like it's taking a lot longer than you'd think. Yeah, and then it's still going. And it's still going. So it's like it's being held for a laugh, but it didn't felt like it was a build up to a joke or anything.
No,
it was different. It was very, very different.
What I liked about that was like those were all awkward things that would happen in real life.
Sure, right.
Like not like in a movie universe. Like okay, yeah, they pull out the body, you got to ID the body, and this movie stops to have what is probably a realistically
sure, they had to, like,
awkward
pump the
moment.
table up, to get it up to height.
And even carrying the casket and standing on that beep 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 to get it up. It was nothing that was unrealistic.
Sure, right.
Really.
Yeah, it wasn't like a silly thing.
Yeah.
It was just a, other movies would have cut.
And they do,
but like they kept it. But it was for a laugh. They did a couple other things that were at first it felt weird, but then you could tell the point was for a laugh, which was like every time somebody died, it would ID them.
I liked
that. It would go to black, and you'd see their name as like R.I.P. that person.
Yeah.
And at first it was like weird, but then later it was obviously being done for a joke. And they actually used it as a punchline a couple times too.
Yeah.
Which is like. Then you see why they did it.
Yeah.
At first you're like, this is different. Okay, why are they doing this? But then later they're using it as a punchline, and it works.
It did. You could hear like the gunshots as like the title cards are going off, and plus like the one guy who's like giving up Liam Neeson, and the villain's like, okay, well, how much money did we say to give you? He's like $10,000. Great, $10,000. Cut the guy's name dead. Like,
well, again, that's the punchline. But,
it was funny.
It only worked. It could have worked on its own. But like it only worked because they've done it so many times.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and so that worked. It's like that's a weird joke, but you hung in there, and it worked.
And little things with music too.
Yeah.
Like a couple of guys have to take a cab to go somewhere one time, and the cab driver's playing Barbie Girl.
Right.
Like there were just really odd. Real moments of like comedy in this film, and I really did appreciate that, and I liked the stories that were going along with it. Like I really loved the villains in this film.
Right, yeah, the villains actually were more interesting than, some of the, even to a point, Liam Neeson's character. Because Liam Neeson, he's pretty easy. He's a very simple man, simple life, and his son gets murdered, and he's going for revenge. So he didn't have a whole lot more arc other than that.
Yeah.
Not that he needed it,
No.
But, there's the villains and the different henchmen and the different games that they played with each other, and like in stories they told and stuff.
There's like this...
that had payoff.
Oh, yeah.
It totally did.
There's Liam Neeson is like the guy getting revenge, and then the villains are kind of in this like Yojimbo kind of like war with each other with these rival gangs, and the main villain of the movie is deliciously over the top in this film. Like he is eating scenery left and right and having a ball doing it. Like oh my fucking, like who gave this to my son? This cookie has high fructose corn syrup in it. You are going to be hearing from my lawyer. Like, you will only be seeing my son 4 days out of the week. And, like, I loved this guy. He's like this...
Yeah, this guy was pretty
He
funny.
was, like, over the top in a way of, like, an old Godfrey Ho movie. Like, from the 80s. Like, he's that kind of crime boss in this movie. This guy was insane. Like, there was nothing redeemable about this character.
Not at all. Yeah.
Just to be wildly over the top. And just... I totally respected it. I was like, I love this guy's performance. I love every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
It was because you're right about that. Liam Neeson, he is kind of playing the revenge part of it straight, like he would in a Taken film.
Yeah.
But he's just surrounded by a much more. Kind of Coen Brothers universe, really.
Right, but not quirky. Like the characters, and there's things about some of the characters that are interesting, and like you don't know where they're going with it at certain points. You're like, wait a second, why did we see this?
Yeah.
Like there's the two henchmen that have a relationship together.
Oh yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, are they playing this for laughs? Like, why? Well, no, there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
It was a good reason.
Yeah.
It's so that when that one of them gets killed by the big bad, the other one, betrays them later.
Yeah.
But it's what helps save Liam Neeson.
No, yeah. Totally.
So it's like there was a point behind that. That guy had a reason for doing what he was doing. Like they're. And why based on what those characters did. So like that was you had to hang in there with it on some of these
Yeah.
things, but it was worth it. There was a plan. They knew where they were going, and I totally respect that. That was good.
No, same here. I really like the pacing of the film. I like the look of it too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because it's taking place outside of Denver, and everything just looks like a snowy apocalypse in this film.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow! Like
You
it
could have
looks.
told me this was at the North Pole, and I would have believed you.
Oh yeah, like there are just like 8-foot walls of snow that
Yeah.
they're driving through,
Yeah.
and Denver looks like it is like.
The coldest city on earth.
Yeah, Denver in this film looks like it hasn't been inhabited in like years, and it's been like straight like this is after some kind of snow apocalypse. I liked all that stuff about the film. I mean, if you love going to see Liam Neeson movies and you've seen a lot of them here recently within the past few years, you'll really like this. This is like if all of those, if the from Taken and After, if all those are like Friday the 13th movies, this is like Friday the 13th Part 6, which has quite a big sense of humor to it, that
Right,
movie does.
yeah.
And it kind of plays with certain tropes of the movies that came before it. Like I said, if you really like Darkman, like that kind of revenge movie like that, you might like this. I enjoyed it. I didn't even know until recently that this is a remake.
Well, I didn't know until I was watching the credits, and it said based on a movie
Yeah.
by, I think the actual filmmaker, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he remade this. I think his name looked German. Correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. So he must have made it, foreign language, and then got it picked up here to be made here. So kudos on that.
When I first heard about this movie, my first thought was like that it sounded like the fake Liam Neeson movie that was in Daddy's Home 2, where the movie ends, it's Christmas, and it ends with them going to the movie theater to see a movie, and they're going to see a Liam Neeson movie that he's a tow truck driver in it, and it's all snowy, and the name of it is Mistletoe.
I mean, this could have looked like a parody of itself.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
called
can-
Cold Justice.
Cold Pursuit.
Or, sorry,
Cold
Cold Pursuit.
Pursuit. It could have
Yeah.
been called Cold Justice.
Yeah, yeah. It really could have.
It could
honestly.
have been. It could have been. And the thing is honestly, it could have been a straight parody.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that wasn't the original intention of the original film, but I mean, you could have made a kind of parody film starring Liam Neeson that's done for yucks and laughs or whatever, of him being that would have been bad. I think that would have been terrible.
There is a movie that does that. It doesn't have Liam Neeson in
Sure.
it, but there is a spoof film that's on video that's called Tooken. No, I'm glad that this like
Totally. That this was not a parody. This was not a goofy. This was, you're right. It was a drama that had character moments of humor in it.
Yeah.
And like actual like real world things instead of slipping on a banana peel and whoa
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
type of wackadoo slapstick. Which not that there's anything wrong with it.
No,
but,
certainly.
but in this type of movie, I think it worked really well, and it was different.
It was-
that's
yes,
the thing. Had it been
yeah.
a straight Taken movie, had this been taken by another name, well then it's just been taken by another name.
Yeah.
It needed to be different enough to discern itself from any of those other movies.
And it is.
Aesthetically, totally is.
Yeah.
And then just because of these these wacky villains. And I say wacky, I don't mean wacky like, but I mean these interesting, quirky,
Yeah.
fun villains and their interactions with each other.
That's true, because
Yeah.
in the pacing of the story, like, it's also different than those other movies. Because, like, yeah, Liam Neeson is our main character, but the more we get deeper into the story, like, his character pretty much shares about equal screen
Yeah,
time
they
with
do,
the
yeah.
villains in this movie.
Right, exactly.
Like, it really does get a lot into their stories as well. And I really appreciate that about the film. Like, it is...
But it doesn't feel like weirdly forced.
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
no.
And for the climax of the film and resolution,
Yeah.
it there's a much deeper enjoyment of it, knowing why these two factions are attacking each other, and why he's where he is, and
Yeah.
so that was good. It was different.
Yeah.
And it felt a little weird, but as I'm really enjoying it, I'm like, you know what? This was the right way to do this.
No, it was.
This was totally the right way to do this movie.
Yeah,
So-
I dug it. I did. Again, like I said, I enjoyed it way more than Lego Movie 2,
Yeah.
the second
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. I still like Lego Movie 2. I did enjoy Cold Pursuit way more.
See?
So, yeah.
Well, let's see if I like the next two movies better. I got
Oh, yeah.
The Prodigy and What Men Want. Any other words about Cold Pursuit.
I don't know. It was worth it. I think it was worth
Yeah,
it.
I recommend it.
Yeah, I totally recommend it too. So.
Yeah. So I got The Prodigy, then What Men Want, and Irving and I should be back probably around 12:15 Central to do live reviews of those. So, all right, everyone. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll see you later.
See ya.